some of the next things, I'd like to try calculating blog read time, dynamic color. Then I would like us to be able to create, read, and delete blog articles. A concept that we will revisit later is this idea of CRUD. And this is going to be really helpful when we get into full stack. There's basically 4 things you can do with any piece of data: create it, look at it, we call that reading, change it, edit it, update it, those are all synonyms, or delete it. And in full stack, this maps onto so many concepts: APIs and REST services, get, post, put, delete, and so forth. So we're getting a taste of that when we mess with these blog articles. That's the point. It's like everyone here is already displaying a blog article. The question will be, did everyone get to the point where they could have the form to add an article?
It is added. It doesn't look like my other styled articles, and it's below my form. So those are the things that, but I haven't like tried to fix that yet. Like I haven't done my own debugging, so.
And has anyone implemented a delete button yet? Marcia, would you feel comfortable sharing, and we can kind of like build on your project as a team?
Sure thing.
And we'll nearly be done with the blog at that point.
Entries are showing up, and so here's my code.
Nice. So how is it working?
I use the document get element by to like basically call to my form, which that's the ID of my form, and then to listen for when someone submits, and then it will implement this function. And then here's, I did do the prevent default, like we talked about last time, that keeps it from like trying to send it, I think, to the back end or to somewhere else. Get my values. I made variables, get whatever the user would put in there with the dot value. It would grab that and then basically put it into my variable date and content. I do know that this is working to, I put my class of date here, and that is working to make my date red, but I haven't gotten, I think my others are in an article. And then I did recognize that like the article is where I have my padding and my border, all of that pink stuff. And so that's not in here. So that might be a potential fix. And then, yeah, so that's what I got. That's a terrible explanation, but.
No, you're crushing it. I think you're tripping over yourself because as you explain it, you're noticing the issues, and but you're actually right about the direction to fix this. On line 52, does anyone else know a different way to do this that doesn't involve add event listener?
I might have a guess if no one else does.
Go for it. What's your guess?
And I haven't looked into how it works, but doing like an on submit or something like that up at the form.
That's right.
I'm not sure. Okay. I don't know how that works, so which is why I hadn't tried it yet. But I watched your other trial by fire, and I think it's early binding and late binding.
You got it.
Like,
let's go.
Catch it earlier. It would know that it was coming, so it would like have a heads up for the early binding if I did it that way.
Yep. So we don't need to dwell on that too much, but yes, feel free to study up on early binding versus late binding after the session if you'd like to. So I think you rattled off maybe 4 or 5 things that you could change. What is one thing that you would change? Let's do one of them.
That pink box. And so it's article. And so I feel like I need to somehow incorporate that. Entries are in a paragraph. So I didn't know if I needed both article and paragraph, or
I think you can answer your own question if you take 10 seconds and think about it. So suppose that you did that. Suppose that you added class article. How would you then apply a CSS rule to it?
The CSS rule is here for my articles already.
But is that applying to class article?
Oh no, it's just to these articles, my articles here.
Yep. The blog has articles. The articles look cool, right? Like stuff's already working. The weird part is the new thing. Yeah. So we should be able to think big picture. The problem, therefore, is in the new thing, right?
Right.
So and this is the new thing. You've got it pulled up on your screen. So what here would be like? What here is causing so you're adding articles, right? Or you're adding text on the page, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. What is causing that text to look different? Do you know? Like, why doesn't it look like all the other articles? That's so weird, right?
Because it's not an article, it's a paragraph.
because it's not an article is true, but not because it's a paragraph.
Okay.
So this thing that you're making, and this is going to be between lines 57 and 63, if that helps. This thing that you're making, you're putting a paragraph in it, but itself, it's not a paragraph. It's a thing that contains a paragraph. And it also contains a heading.
Okay. Yeah, okay, you're right. The heading would be in there as well. That makes sense.
Let's do this. Marcia, why don't you say out loud what you're looking at? And then if you can do me a favor, and when you click an element on the left, go over to the right and click it again.
Okay, gotcha. This whole article, is that what you mean by click it again? I guess
Yeah, you're doing that right. Can you just say out loud what you're seeing? What you're seeing.
Okay, so
we're seeing an article tag, right?
Yeah.
And what's inside it? And what's inside of that article tag?
My H2 and my P are both inside of it, and my one of my CSS classes, so that would be also pink and yeah, just pink. That's all that did. So yeah, so inside my article is my heading and my paragraph.
Great. And then the heading has a class attribute with a value of date, and the heading itself has a value of what?
21024.
Yep. And what is the paragraph value? Can we expand that?
Probably can. There we go.
So now
so
now we can see it on the left and we can see it on the right. Okay. So everything, does this look like a problem, or does this look good to you?
This looks good.
Okay. All right. Now let's go to one of the problem cases and see if we can find any differences.
Okay. So I have my entry, which is that the function? I don't know. Okay, so I have my entry. So that could be the problem. Entry needs to be article. I don't know if that's true.
Yep.
Okay.
Nice. Entry is not an HTML element. That's the whole problem.
Okay.